Good everyone, welcome to today's video, and today we have the review on the Hudson Mark V. Tell you the truth, people, this has been one of the more fun talismans to grind. Well, not talismans, market distinctions. I'm a moron this morning. Um, Honestly, buying this thing was one of the best choices I've ever made in my life. It wasn't as good as the Havoc, but it was still fun nonetheless. In terms of which aircraft I'd rather sit in and play with, I would still pick the Havoc. And I'm going to go over as to why, but we'll cover that shortly. So the Hudson Mark V was a variant of the B-34 Lexington, and it's a more toned-down British variant, let's just say, with the 50 cals all but removed, and yet we have British machine guns with British rockets with American bombs on an American aircraft. Well, a modified American aircraft. Makes sense, but even so. The bomb load on this thing is enough to take out a base in a 2.0 down tier. It's not enough for an up tier. It's only just under what it should be for that sort of thing. If it was another 250 pounder, you could do it, but unfortunately you can't. The rockets are terrible. Just going to point that out right now. They are terrible. They do not work against aircraft. They have to be a direct hit to kill even an artillery piece, and they just suck in general. But they can come in handy for taking out light targets if you just fire all 8 at once and hope for a kill or two. That's how I used them, at least. I tried using them in the bomber intercepting role, but they just don't work. I mean, I've had a sparking off a S81 and a 111, so there's that. But overall, this thing was a lot of fun to fly, but was it as good as the Havoc in terms of stats? So if we take a look at the Havoc, it is a 22-to-1 kill-death ratio. Sadly, the Hudson is not as high, but there is a couple of ways in which it was ruined, but I'll go over it. So whilst on paper we do technically have more kills than the Hudson, which you're going to see in this battle, we did have a couple more deaths. My first death was to a potential cheater, but I didn't record it and I didn't have the replay saved because I wasn't 100% sure. Second death, ramming, which pissed me off royally. Third death, retard's luck. Fourth death was this battle, which I'm going to show you. But overall, 222 ground targets. I got 3 base kills throughout flying this thing, and just overall, this thing was a lot of fun. Obviously, you saw in the first battle, we got 1 air kill and I think 6 ground targets, or 7? I can't quite remember the first battle. But carpet bombing convoys, this thing's you're playing. The Havoc does it well, but the Hudson does it better, in my opinion. So, let's go over the defensive armament and the offensive armament. Because it does have offensive armament, but it's not as effective as the Havoc. You get 2 Browner machine guns in the front with 1,000 rounds. They're pretty useful. I mean, they can take out bombers, smaller fighters, and overall they're just useful to have. I mean, they help with ground targets especially. Then you have 2 7.7 Brownings with 1,000 rounds apiece in the top ball turret, which is very effective against dealing with tailgate fighters. Then you have a single Vickers K gun, which is located here. This little Vickers may not look like much, but this thing packs a mean punch. Trust me, with incendiary ammunition. Apparently, this thing used to be used as a a commando's aircraft, where they would fly this thing in, remove the Vickers K, and people, or men, would slide out that section there. Not certain if that's true or not, but I'm just going off what information I've been able to find. Now, obviously, I have got the marker distinction done on the plane, so you will notice more decals than usual. Tally-ho, because obviously it's British aircraft. Eat them alive, because, well, trust me, these turrets eat anything alive. Except for 109Es with cannons, they are very effective at taking down this aircraft. Lady Luck and a Coastal Patrol decal that I had. And obviously the Hudson was using that role. In terms of engines, we are powered by two Pratt & Whitney S3C4G 14-cylinder radials. They are weaker than V34s, but they still get the job done. You can fly home on one engine if the other engine isn't damaged and the wings are not damaged. Otherwise, you are not getting back. Which is a shame, really. And that's what cost us this game, unfortunately. But you gotta see, we do pretty dang well. And before I begin, the title of the replay is a song, well, a part of the lyrics of a song. If anyone gets it, put it in the comments, and I want to see how cultured you are in terms of music. I'll give you a hint. Linkin Park. Anyway, so let's get into the battle, and we can go over the aircraft in a more normal way, shall we say. But this battle could have been a potential carry, but sadly it just wasn't meant to be. So, let's get into the battle. So obviously I have the full payload on board, I have the rockets, I have the bombs. Everything but the kitchen sink in this thing, basically. But this was a lot of fun to fly this battle. Unfortunately, we do lose this game, and that's a spoiler. But I was so sad to lose this game after the effort I'd put in, but sadly, your teams are shit. My recommended tactic with the Hudson is to go in like I am, drop your bombs, and kill a fighter or two on the way out, and just get back to base. That's the way I would fly it. But you're gonna see, my team is just terrible. I mean, we've already had an I-15 crash on takeoff. He's damaged his engine, as you can see. Obviously, I'm in the bomb site. The two 50-pounders drop first. There are 4 of them. Then your bomb site will calibrate a bit differently to accommodate the drop for the 100-pounders. The 100-pounders are not as effective, but if you carpet bomb of them, they're pretty effective. I'm not going to lie, they are pretty effective. The plane can be a bit troublesome at bombing sometimes. It can be a bit unstable, but once you get used to it, it isn't as bad. That's all I'll say. I am cranking back the throttle a bit here, just to improve my bombing accuracy potentially. I dropped 3 there just to make sure I get the target, and I dumped the last 3 on those 2 artillery pieces right there. Any second now, we're coming over the target, and last 3 out. Obviously the replay shows a bit of a delay, but that doesn't matter. And that is all 10 bombs gone. I don't remember if I get those artillery pieces. I know I get hits on them, but I think I get those 2 that I lined up with the 3 100-pounders. Like I said, I do not rely on the 100-pounders for being the most effective bombs in the game, because they're terrible. They get the job done if you hit them bang on, but otherwise, you'll just be scratching someone's paintwork. And I believe they have not scored me the kill at this point. So at this point, I move to intercept the Ki-27, also known as the Nate, on this TB3. But the Ki-27 becomes the true deckhand of ARB and rams the TB3. I honestly don't get what you accomplished there, mate. At this point, I just fire off the rockets, just because I can. They don't hit anything if I recall correctly. And I start making my way to have fun with the fighters. Now the replay will show me leading a bit too much. I'm not. I'm leading bang on the target, because I'm a lot more used to Browning and Vickers K machine guns being in defensive armament, let's just say that. So at this point I move to intercept this HE-51B1. I feel sorry for this guy, because he probably thought he was being intercepted by a small fighter and he thought he could outturn it, but no, this is a Hudson Mk V. I'd have had you with the defensive turrets either way. First air kill. A 109B attempts to drop in on my ass, and well, the Hudson's actually pretty fast, so it can get away from targets pretty damn well. Now, I did fly a couple of flights in the Hudson with Killer Tigger, and that was a lot of fun. You can see down here there's a BA-65. I am close to ripping my wings off due to overspeed. The overspeed is not as high as the B-34. You can safely get around 340 miles an hour before you start running a risk of potentially ripping your wings off. Keep it below 320 and you'll be perfectly fine. You can outrun most threats at your BR, but a 109B in a dive is actually a pretty tough biscuit, but this guy's going to be a bit of a trouble for Nigel and Nigel, but Nigel will appropriately deal with him. The last guy left on my team that is actually useful to the team alive is an I-15. Well, in fact, he's not useful to the team alive. It's an I-15 M22. At this point, I actually crank the throttle back because I'm actually outrunning the 109. I want the 109 to catch up. And there we go, second air kill. Now, I know the digital time traveler is probably going to watch this video and think, well, in a moment he's going to scream at the screen. I can just feel it. I can just feel the earache of the scream coming. Most people at this point, well, in fact, digital time traveler especially, would have J'd out at this point. But I don't. I thought, well, looking at the enemy team, a CR-42 and an A5M. Easy pickings. And the rest is bombers. I did get a tad overconfident. But you can sometimes get away with overconfidence in this aircraft. But not all the time, and you're going to see that, sadly. So, here comes the CR-42 for a bit of a tussle. Obviously, I'm watching him, making sure he doesn't try anything, but obviously he wants to have a crack at me. He wants to finish me out of the sky. But, oh no, this Hudson is anything but a force to be reckoned with. People think, oh, it's got Browning machine guns. It is not that dangerous. Oh yes, it is. And the CR-42 learned that the hard way. I take some minor damage, but the plane doesn't give a shit. That is the third kill of the game. Obviously we've got a full payload on, we've got full rockets again, ready to go. And we're going to have to try and clean up some ground targets to potentially win this game, but sadly we are not going to win this game. I send in the chat, Nigel sends his regards. I did feel a bit bad for that guy, but to be honest he was stat padding, so I don't feel as bad. But it would help if my team would actually do something useful, because at the moment I have, I believe, all of my team's skills, or at least most of them. Let's take a brief look. So 1, 1. Out of 5 kills, I have 3 of them so far. And I'm in a bomber, which is just ridiculous in my opinion. So obviously I'm watching dots just to make sure nothing fishy sneaks up on me, and even then, the Hudson will take it down. Up tiers you will struggle a bit more in terms of defensive capabilities. Just sort of made that clear. So at this point, I'm trying to get my practice in with the rockets. And well, that one lands right next to the artillery piece, but does jack shit. As you can imagine, I was a tad pissed, but yeah, whatever. Don't really need him. The HS-123 up there is currently climbing like a boss, and I mean, I respect that. At this point, I start targeting the AAA guns. Obviously, I'm watching these two at the moment. I see the A5M4 briefly, and I'm thinking, right, I need to turn away. They will sneak up on me and bite me in the arse. I do have my bomb bay doors open, ready to go. And I believe I dropped 2 here. No, I dropped 1. And I dropped 2 on the AAA piece, which to be honest is overkill, but I don't care, it's a AAA piece. I shut the bomb bay doors, I still have 1 250 left, and 6 100-pounders. The A5M for some reason decides tailgating is a good idea, and pays the price. 4th kill. That's their last fighter dead. But now it's just clean up. Obviously we've got to get our team and all that, trying to carry them, but we just can't, people. There's too much for me to do in this battle. I should have stuck to ground targets, but I didn't. And there goes the 2 artillery pieces from earlier on. I used the turrets actually to ground attack, and I do recommend using the top turret specifically. Because you have 2,000 rounds, you can basically lay waste to anything you like. There's the S81. You'll see him later. He is a stat padder in that thing. I mean, I don't know why you would choose the S81 to stat pad it. But this battle is the reason why I chose the Linkin Park lyrics. Because Linkin Park just has the perfect song for remembering this sort of battle. I'll obviously point it out in the comments when someone gets it right. I'll pin your comment to the top. Now at this point, a Ki-32 decides to, for some reason, have a crack at my Hudson, which to be honest made me laugh a little. Obviously I'm in bomb sight view, I'm just thinking nothing of it. And then I hear someone scratching my paintwork and I'm thinking, you bastard, what are you doing? Jump in the tail gunner. Obviously I want to get both guns firing on him, that means the Vickers K and the Brownings. And there we go, there's your ace. I come up for a crack here at the S81. The S81 does have a pretty damn good defensive armament layout, that I will say. Set the left engine on fire, and here comes that bottom gunner. His first shots nailed the left engine, and to be honest, I was getting a bit questionable at this point. I have never seen a S81 do that much damage. Nigel attempts to fight back, but those Breda Safats are actually pretty damn good. They may only be 7.7 caliber, but they are pretty dang dangerous. I fire back, obviously. It's quite clear that the S81 is getting what's known as Trent's retard's luck. And now the Hudson's barely flying. And here comes Sesto Elemento 03. I'm trying to keep the plane aloft. I'm fighting back as much as I can, but obviously the aircraft is just going down. There's nothing I can do here. I'm trying my best to keep her in air as long as I can. The HS-123 gets to within gun range, and I'm thinking at this point, well, if we're going down, I'm taking you with me. I jump on the turrets. The Hudson at this point is about to stall, but we shoot down the HS-123 right as we stall and crash. And that was the last death I experienced in this plane. And many flights took place afterwards, let's just say that. But sadly, that is the end of the game. No matter how hard you try, people, sometimes it's just futile sometimes. I mean, we did get pummeled by the S81's guns, which did send my suspicions off a little bit, but to be fair, if you do practice a lot, you do know how to lead some guns, and they can pack a punch. the braided Safats on the SM90, or the SM81, I should really say, because it's technically the SM. These little braided Safats may not look like much, but they do pack a mean punch. But even so, we did our best. We got 6 air kills, 17 ground targets, but it wasn't enough. And to be honest, I did get a tad overconfident when engaging that SE1 anyway. But hey ho, everyone deserves to be taught a lesson, and I got taught a lesson as well. But to be honest, so did 6 in the enemy planes. Anyway, do I recommend buying the Hudson? Hell to the yes. However, in my personal opinion though, the Havoc's better. The Havoc can just take more damage and just get home. If the Havoc lost an engine there and took as much damage as this Hudson did, should have gone home no problem. I can tell you that right now. So you can see what I mean by advantages and disadvantages and things like that. The Hudson has more bombs, but they're of weaker caliber. It has better defensive guns in terms of number, but it lacks in offensive. It can't take as much punishment, and the radial engine is actually pretty vulnerable to fires. I forgot to mention that. I have suffered engine fires before. It doesn't tend to kill the Hudson very well, but just being advised. So overall, yes, buy the Hudson as a rank 2 premium. It is better in terms of researching than the Havoc, but personally, you'll get better service out of the Havoc. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Hudson. Soon enough, there will be a review on the Wirraway, which I'm looking forward to. And I will catch you all on the next one.